So now we're moving on to item number 2.8, Board of Trustees Reorganization. First item on the agenda is that I will accept nominations for the position of chairman.
I would enter the name of William Griffin to be chair.
Are there any other nominations?
Yes. It gives me great pleasure to ask this board to allow Amanda Howland to continue as the chair of this board.
Is there any discussion before we have a roll call for each nomination?
I have comments to make. I'm also supporting Amanda Howland for chairman, and here are my reasons. In the last 2 years, I've seen Amanda's leadership foster a culture of cooperation with the administration and focus on forward-thinking initiatives aligned with the college's mission and strategic goals. 2 years ago, I supported Amanda and therefore I changed the entire board leadership because I was chagrined at the atmosphere then in existence on this board. I felt the prior leadership exhibited what I regarded as an unhealthy disrespect for the president and a preoccupation with the role of the board rather than the direction of the college. I felt a change was needed mostly because I thought the prior leadership's approach fostered an overall environment of fear, which I thought logically led to a stifling of creativity and initiative. Exactly the kind of environment that I thought we didn't want to encourage. I also saw Amanda focus on board policies in an effort to be fiscally responsible with board spending. First with the clarification of the relevance of the Gift Ban Act to trustees, then with the re-examination of the board's policy on travel and entertainment. I would like to see her continue in leadership. With the need to make student success everyone's first priority, I want to see board leadership that encourages innovative thinking from everyone in the college. And I think Amanda is the one who can best do that.
Thank you. And I want to say I appreciate the comments. I did not orchestrate any of them. I have no personal agenda for remaining chairman. I'm honored to be nominated again. However, the roll call will start for each nomination. Oh, you have a comment to make? I'm sorry.
Yes.
I didn't realize that.
My comment is basically when Chairman Howland arrived on the board, I was pleased to learn of her desire for transparency. Transparency in the context of communication implies openness and accountability. Transparency is also in operating in such a way that it's easy for others to see what actions are performed. There are two primary aspects of transparency relevant to this board: information disclosure and clarity. When I joined the CLC Board of Trustees, I asked one question of the then sitting chair, Bill Griffin. This one question and his response to that question would define, in my mind, how he would handle future opportunities for transparency. The question that I asked was this: Chairman Griffin, may I have a copy of travel expense reports for the last few years? You see, in my role as an accountant and as a money manager, numbers tell a story. There are some inherent transparency built in the accounting system. I just learned to follow the numbers. So when I asked this question of then Chairman Griffin for a copy of the expense report, he firmly told me no, which is kind of comical because I am a private citizen of the County of Lake, and I certainly can request copies of this report. But I deferred because there was so much work to do. So much work to do. But now I'm faced with the opportunity to vote for a chair. I can only remember that question and the importance for me for transparency. And I just would prefer to have someone in this position who could value transparency. Those are my comments, Chair.
Thank you. I need a roll call, and we will be starting with the first nomination, taking it in order, and that would be the nomination for Bill Griffin for chairman.
Ms. Mott?
I abstain.
Dr. Griffin?
Aye.
Ms. Howland?
No, and I will put the caveat in that the reason that I vote no is because I believe that this board was controlled by the same people for over 15 years, and we made very little progress. There was a lot of an entitlement culture, and even though I'm being assured that that mindset has changed, I'm not so sure that it has. I hope I'm proven wrong. I have no desire to continue to be chairman all of the time. That's not my personal goal, and I don't have a personal stake in what goes on with this college. My only concern is what's best for College of Lake County. So my vote is no, because I think this is going backwards to the same culture that we just finally got away from for the last 2 years.
Mrs. Olschlager?
Aye.
Ms. Paul?
No.
Mr. Anderson?
Aye.
Dr. Kerrigan?
Aye.
Ms. Goshgarian?
No.
I congratulate Trustee Griffin on becoming the new chair. There's no reason to call a vote for the other. That doesn't,
Okay.
I mean, that's a
That's it.
given.
That's your chair.
No, we already knew that. That's a given. So I will trade places with Dr. Griffin. And I thank everybody for my time that I've had so far as chairman. I've really enjoyed representing the college. I think all of you are exemplary faculty and staff, and it's been an honor. Can you slide this down there? And then I won't have to pick up my pen. Oh, you don't have to slide down, Phil. I'm sorry. I went for Jim just to slide my stuff down.
Oh, sorry.
So that I didn't have to try and have multiple things in my hands. And I'll trade you name tags. This chair's falling.
Thank you, colleagues. And let me just comment a little bit. To the members of the audience. I reached out to 6 out of the 7 trustees here to talk about leadership, offered some suggestions and some ideas for them to consider. I reached out to 6, 1 who never even returned the call, and wanted to talk about leadership and what we should be doing. For the last 2 years, we've had a 4-3 vote. In the last 2 years, present leadership and past leadership never reached out to any of us to talk about leadership. Not a phone call, nothing to talk about leadership. We could have talked about some ideas. We should have talked about ideas. And I at least tried to reach out. I was willing to work with any of them on ideas and suggestions. So I take offense to what was said about the transparency, and for someone not even to call me back to talk about it, you as the audience members should know that. Because I want you to have the full story, and we could have done that. With that said, we're here to do the business of the college, and I know we'll all do a good job, so let's move forward.
And I'll reiterate again that I called on you every time there was a problem to ask for your support and advice.
And you did. Then that's you did. When there were things that you had questions on, where we got through some difficult periods, you did. You called me, and I tried to give you the best advice I could. And that's absolutely true. You did. And I appreciate that.
Thank you.
So does this mean I get expense reports now?
You can get your expense reports whatever you want. Okay.
Yes, I can.
Yeah, you can. All right, but I didn't think it was appropriate for you to have everyone else's expense accounts at that time, but you certainly can get the expense accounts. If that's an issue, then fine.
I had to file a Freedom of Information Act to get some information that ICCD put out
I don't think
this
that's,
past
I
year.
don't think it's necessary for the request that I had, but
Well, no, and I think it's inexcusable for a trustee to have to file a Freedom of Information Act request
that's cool.
to get a report that the Illinois Community College Board did for this college, as they did for every other community college in the state, the economic impact report. So, you know, it swings both ways.
Okay. The election's over. Let's do the business of the college. Yeah. So I'll take nomination for election of the vice chair. Nomination for vice chair.
I would nominate Bill Kerrigan as vice chairman of the board.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Let's see. Okay, is there any other nominations? Okay. Hearing none, we have a nomination, we have a second. Roll call.
Ms. Mata?
I abstain.
Dr. Griffin?
Aye.
Ms. Howland?
Aye.
Mrs. Olshager?
Aye.
Ms. Paul?
Aye.
Mr. Anderson?
Aye.
Dr. Kerrigan?
Aye.
Ms. Goshgarian?
Aye.
Congratulations, Bill.
Thank you.
So you just trade seats here.
Let me make a few short remarks.
Sure.
I appreciate this honor and responsibility. Trust everybody, my left and right, to be good guiders and leaders, including the president. And I'll look forward to growing in this position. Thank you.
Congratulations. Next is the election of the secretary. We have nominations for election of the secretary.
I'd like to nominate Richard Anderson.
Is there a second?
I don't think we need a second. I think you just asked for another nomination.
Another
Any other
nomination, right.
nominations?
Yeah. So another nomination?
I would like to nominate Amanda Howland.
Okay. Any others? Hearing none, first nominee was Richard Anderson. So let's take a roll call on that.
Ms. Mata?
I abstain.
Dr. Griffin?
Aye.
Ms. Howland?
No.
Mrs. Olshager?
Aye.
Ms. Paul?
No.
Mr. Anderson?
Aye.
Dr. Kerrigan?
Aye.
Ms. Goshgarian?
No.
Congratulations, Mr. Anderson.
Thank you.
Establishment of
Vicinity.
salary for the treasurer. Do you want to increase the salary of the treasurer?
I think we should.
$5 million.
Exponentially.
So I think that's still going to stay zero. And I think we'll move on to the appointment, or do we need to make a motion?
Can we unanimously appoint?
Yeah, I think we can unanimously. Everyone unanimous on the salary of zero?
With a COLA.
Okay. All right. So that's David, first appointment. With that said, the appointment of the treasurer, entertain a motion that David Gazy be appointed to the office of treasurer of the Board of Trustees, effective April 23rd, 2015.
So moved.
Motion's been moved and second. Okay. Any opposed? Congratulations. Yeah. All right, before we move on to the receipt of notices, let's just go back a bit and express our appreciation to Amanda Howland for her leadership in some of the things that were accomplished under her leadership. One, finalizing the long-awaited compensation study. Yeah. An institutional restructuring that included combining educational affairs and student development and administrative affairs and human resources. Realignment of the budget to fund $2.3 million in student success initiatives. Successful negotiations of the faculty contract. Approval of environmental technology certificate. Approval of a clean air and smoke-free policy. Approval of the new board ethics policy and the revised board expense guidelines. Approval of the not-to-exceed $60 million general obligation bond for the purpose of improving the Grays Lake campus. And I think we see that in action today. Adoption of the resolution authorizing the college to purchase and acquire property at 655 West Washington Street, Grays Lake. And authorization of the college to enter into agreement with the transit services to Pace Urban Bus System that will improve transit services for students and employees. Approval of the international resolution to promote student engagement and success. Approval of the $1.6 million auto body shop renovation. Approval of the $3 million geothermal field construction. Approval of the $24 million cafe and core renovation at the Grays Lake campus. And $1.7 million at the South Lake Chemistry Lab. Approval of the insurance program premiums for student activities. Strongly encouraged administration to pursue the AACC Advancing Diversity Award, which resulted in CLC being selected as a finalist. And finally, starting the CLC's first vendor fair to promote opportunities to local and disadvantaged businesses. And we have a gift, Amanda, to present to you. I think I saw someone coming around here.
Yeah.
And so,
I just stopped by with Marshall Fields.
picked this up for you on the way
There is no
here.
Marshall Fields. I wish there was a Marshall Fields. I don't like Macy's.
I love the Marshall Field.
He took away a Chicago icon.
Did you want to say anything?
Pardon me?
Did you want to say anything?
I just thank everybody for the opportunity to have been board chair. I think we've made some great strides in the last 2 years. I think that there are a lot of changes that were made that were very positive for the culture of this institution. And I hope that we continue to move in that direction and that we allow our administration to be innovative and not afraid to think outside the box, not afraid to try some new ideas. And I hope that we continue to support our administration as a board and don't get back into the habit of micromanaging. So I thank everybody.
All right, we'll move on. We do have a couple thank yous for Tom Morris for the opportunity to work with the Board of Trustees of the college for many years. Is he here tonight? No?
I haven't seen him.
All right, so we thank Tom for his help with us.